Hello there, Biakamiuso desu and welcome back to playing the game book The Unspeakable Usurper. So we have actually advanced quite a lot in this game book. So basically this game book talks about we are a thief in Machiavel, which is a city of criminals basically. And we were hired by a lord, which we actually robbed his house recently. And he became interested in our work because of that, actually. So who knows where job opportunities will arise from. So yeah, you may be robbing someone's house today, and tomorrow they're gonna give you a job based on your skills. I'm kidding, don't rob anyone's house. And we were hired to investigate, to try to find the whereabouts of his twin brother, and we have gathered some interesting information, and we were able to get 4 keywords, exactly 4 keywords, and those 4 keywords gave us references for us to investigate in the book, and we have now investigated and explored 3 of those 4 references. So we are only missing 1 reference for this game, and we are going to investigate that remaining reference, which is reference 56, and then we are gonna be able to follow the instructions to know what the final conclusion of our investigation is. So I'm really looking forward, because I feel like it was a pretty nice gameplay so far, unless I die mysteriously and suddenly, which with me it's not a really far-fetched option, but we will pray that that doesn't happen. At least we see the end and reach some kind of conclusion. It would be nice. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into our game, shall we? Okay, so the beginning doesn't it's not what we are aiming for. We are going to entry 56, which was the entry related to our keyword Eidolon. 56, okay. Hello there, General Kenobi. Hi there, our author is once again religiously from the beginning of our stream. He's here with us to make us do mistakes, to see us doing mistakes, laughing at our account. I'm kidding. Ranking 87, always here to see how the adventure is going, trying to offer us some clues or not as to what the next step may be, and sharing also curiosities about the way he made this game book come to be. So welcome. So we are now exploring our reference 56 to see what Eidolon is all about. So far this adventure is coming up better than the other. Yes, which I feel like if we talk about it too much is almost like jinxing it. I'm actually afraid, because I'm waiting for an opportunity for me to die unexpectedly. I really am. I don't know. I feel like this is going too well for what is usually my luck with this kind of stuff. So let's hope this continues. Okay, this is really out of nowhere. When the Anarchy War broke on the island, one of the first institutions to be affected by it was religion. The Order of Gaelar, for instance, had all of its cathedrals burned to the ground and centuries of history destroyed permanently. However, there's still the monastery just outside town that managed to survive the war. Inside, there's only a handful of devotees of the old god Gaelar, men and women who descend from the priests and priestesses who survived the war, and as expected, they refuse to open the door to you. You do realize I'm a thief, don't you? You ask sarcastically to the grumpy old man who looks at you from the other side of the porthole. So, he says defiantly, so, don't you think that if I wanted, I could have broken into your monastery without you even realizing it? I'd like to see you try, Spider, he answers confidently, which makes you think. In fact, this place never got invaded ever since the war, and it's not like the monastery is in a hard place to reach. Are their defenses really that great? Will you try to convince the priest to give you any information regarding your investigation? Try to break into the monastery. Either people... Wait a minute, didn't you lose the mirror? Yes, I did lose the mirror. I did lose the mirror. Yeah, something is not going to end up well. I know something is gonna end up terribly wrong. Don't know what it is, but something is definitely gonna go wrong. So, I don't think, I mean, people would try to break into a monastery, right? Usually religious places have artifacts and stuff of value, so it's pretty common to be anyone trying to rob them. So it's I don't know if it's a smart choice to try to break into. Try to convince the priest to give you any information. Maybe that one. Oh, hi there, what am I listening to? Oh, thank you so much for joining, Focus One. Hi there. Feel free to introduce yourself, tell us all about you. I'm Biaka. I hope you like game books, because that's what we are currently doing. We are reading a game book. And feel free to join in and share your comments. Okay, so we were going to 84 to trying to convince the priest. Priest, give us information, please. Wait, 85, not 85, it's 84. Look, friend, I'm not your friend, cuts the priest unsympathetically. You decide to try a different approach. Fine, we don't need to be friends. I don't even need to enter your monastery. I just want your help figuring out something about my investigation. There is a brief silence. The priest's eyes seem to examine you almost the same way as young Ming's. Speak, he demands, and you waste no more time telling your story and how you were led to this place. When you tell him about the Book of Eidolon, he suddenly cuts you once more. So it was that filthy old Chinquinese who stole that book from us. His voice is no longer unsympathetic or sarcastic. You can see his eyes narrow in an angry expression. I wouldn't say he stole the book, you answer. He was the one who told me about you. Why would he do that if he had been the one who stole the book? The priest's eyes slowly relax from their angry expression. The next thing he says surprises you, not only by what he says, but also how he says it. Fine, come on in, are the words that come from a calmer priest. I'm sorry, I cannot do him like he's calm, apparently. You hear the door's bolt turn, and soon you contemplate an old bald man dressed in a silver robe fastened with a blue belt. He raises a hand in the direction of the monastery, inviting you in. He leads you through a short corridor until he suddenly pushes you to a door to the right, just before you could arrive at the cloister, where you still manage to notice several people knelt before a statue whose features you couldn't see. The room you enter is a small library with not as many books as you would expect. Most of the shelves are empty, and some of the books look too ruined for you to even try to open them. The Anarchy War destroyed most of our scriptures, explains the priest. Our predecessors managed to salvage some documents, but most was lost. All this is what's left of our religion. Do you really think I can find the answers I seek here? You ask doubtfully. The priest sighs. The Book of Eidolon was written by my great-great-grandfather, he says. Even though his words are blasphemous to our order, they also made us understand that there are mysteries in this world, which we cannot ignore. We had to increase our knowledge of what exists around us so that those mysteries wouldn't put our religion in peril. Most of what we have here is information regarding those mysteries. If Jiang Ming stole the Book of Eidolon, then it's certainly because he wants to understand something. Maybe you could complete that understanding with what we have here. You walk around the library reading the spines of several of the books. And you really have no issue with me walking around the monastery, you tease. I thought you were very close people. The priest also smiles, and you secretly wish he hadn't. His creepy grin shows a mixture of confidence and secrecy. Just because we have no contact with the outside world doesn't mean we know nothing about what happens around us. We know more than you think, Spider. How do you think we managed to survive the war and keep this monastery intact all these years? You see him turn and leave the room. Close the door when you're done. And don't wander around. You might disturb our prayers, he adds before closing the door. Trying not to be so disturbed by the image of the priest's smile, you continue your walk along the library. There are not that many interesting books here. Most of them are about Galar or Gospels of old priests of its order. However, there are two books that draw your attention and you believe might be useful in your investigation. Which one will you read? Which one will I read? Can I only read one? That's terrible. The Man of Clay. I guess I would want to read The Man of Clay because that was mentioned. The Holders. I don't know. I will read about The Man of Clay. I feel like going with my first instinct. My instinct gets me killed, but I don't care. The book tells the story of Epicurus, a scholar who lived more than 200 years ago in the country of Greece. The narration starts with a description of a dream he had when he was only 5, but which was so vivid that its memory accompanied him through all his life. In his dream, Epicurus is standing beyond an unknown seal engraved on the floor, and on its center there was only a small mound of clay. Chantings were heard all around him, but he couldn't see anyone. Then the clay started moving, as if enchanted by the voices, and soon began to take the form of a human being. Even though he could identify this person as a man, he could never recall his face. Then, when the clay finally became a perfect representation of a human person, it raised its hand to Epicurus, inviting him to join it inside the seal. Unable to control his actions, Epicurus went to that strange being and touched its hand. And just as he had done it, an eerie voice whispered something to his ear. Erf emtes. Several years after this experience, Epicurus started studying with mentors considered as some of the best thinkers of his time, all in hopes of understanding what that dream meant. The book transcribes some of his conversations with his mentors regarding the mysteries of the mind and the meaning of dreams. His studies led him to this island, formerly known as Jinjuan, where he was told that he could find the answers he sought. After studying and researching in the Sycamore Academy, for more than 10 years, Epicurus reached the dead end. Nothing could say what that dream meant, nor even the words whispered. In despair, he decided to take a sabbatical from his job as an academic professor and took on a small journey through the island. When he was exploring the southern mountains of Sharakshish, I don't know how to read that. Sharakshish, maybe? The book The Holders is based in a series of creepypastas with the same name. Oh, I don't know anything about the creepypastas about The Holders. I think I haven't read anything about that. So I was trying Mountains of Sharakshish. He found a cave which he felt being drawn into. Inside, he found a statue made of clay, and even though he couldn't see it clearly by the faint light coming from the entrance, he could tell it had been made several centuries ago. When he lit up his torch to better examine the statue, he found out in shock that the figure that it represented was the same as the one that appeared in his dream, its hand held up in a similar inviting way. But it was the statue's face that scared him the most. Perfectly chiseled on the surface of the clay, he saw his own face, gazing at him with dead eyes. After Ipicarus ran away from the cave, the narration ends. There is an afterword at the end of the book, written by Ipicarus in a more distressed handwriting. All my life I wanted to know what that thing was. That man of clay of my dreams whose memories tormented me to the point I had to leave my home and search for answers. This obsession that took 74 years of my life. And for what? By the time I understood what that thing was, I had thrown away years of happiness that I will never recover. All this time it called me. All this time it mocked me, burned itself and its haunting words in my brain and tortured me just for fun. It took away my life, my health, my relationship with others and turned me into its puppet. But this is what they do, these men of clay. They appear before innocent people like me and force themselves into their minds, robbing them of their identity. They make us look for them and set them free. Yes, that's what that man of clay wanted from me. It wanted me to touch it, to release it from its prison, but I didn't do it, and that was the only mistake in its prediction. Or was it? Was it really expecting me to set it free, or was it just a game for it? What had made it think I would set it free? What was it really thinking that? But was it really thinking that? Why did it have my face? Who made it, and how is it possible, a centuries-old statue having my face? I can't understand what's happening, and it's driving me mad. I have to go back. I have to know. I have to touch it. There is nothing else after these words, which makes you wonder what happened to Ipicarus after that. Well, you know, he decided to go back, touch it, and have a horrible end to his life, I guess. Did he made to the statue and touched it? There is no way to know by now, and you prefer to ask yourself in what way this tale can help you in your investigation. Record the clue B47. Clue B47. When you put the book back on the shelf, something on the other side of the door catches your attention. It seems that the chantings on the cloister became a little louder. You look around you as if the voices were in the same room as you, but you are still alone. Even so, this increasing chanting is turning the atmosphere heavier, so you decide to leave before something else happens. Erase the keyword and everything, and now leave the monastery at once. 4, 3. Okay. I will leave the monastery. I have the clue I wanted. I wonder what would happen if I tried to break into the monastery, actually. Okay, now it's the time because I have basically erased all my keywords. Hi there, debate. Thank you so much for the lurk. Sorry about that. I was distracted. I was focused on my reading. But thank you so much. How are you? So let me see how this goes. Every time you use one keyword and successfully learn something, you may be asked to record an A or B clue, followed by a certain number. When you manage to gather all information possible, you can combine the A and B clues by adding up their numbers and going to the reference in the total in order to reach a conclusion. For example, if you have a clue A20 and a clue B40, But then I'm confused. Please, I summon the author to clarify me. So, right now, I have 2 A clues and 2 B clues. Does that mean I can reach 3 conclusions? Wait, not 3, 4? Because I can do different combinations of these clues, right? Or am I being dumb? How does this work? I'm confused. Because I have too many clues. Because I can do like, if this is A, B, C, D, I can do A, B, I can do CD, I can do AD and BC, right? I think I'm not mistaken. I can also add these ones and I can also add these ones. So how does this work? Please help me. Right, try to combine as many A, B clues as you can. Okay, so like I said, right, then I get like 4 references, is that right? So imagine, the first one would be 81, then the other one I'm able to get is 77, then I have 91, and then I have 67. Okay. These are all the combinations I can get. So let's go, I will go in the order I said them. So the first one is 81. 81, 81, 81. Okay. It seems that this puzzle is lacking some of its pieces, but at the same time you believe you know what has happened. Jiang Ming went to Lady Asanor in the asylum and asked her to teach him about summoning rituals. She refused, so he left, enraged and vowing to deal with her later. It seems that he tried to perform that ritual, whether with or without success, you cannot say. All you can speculate is that, based on the lack of information about the arrival of Ming's brother, it is possible that what came from the ritual may have been some sort of Jiang Ming's duplicate, like I thought, which he told you was his brother. There is also the possibility that Jiang Ming may have tried to transfer his own soul to his twin, without success. That is just what you can take from these clues, even though it doesn't explain why or how that duplicate disappeared. Then, you recall something the asylum's receptionist told you. Souls can carry memories. What if Jiang Ming managed to transfer part of his soul to his duplicate? The memory of his encounter with Asanor may have been transferred as well, and with that any feelings of anger towards her. If your theory is correct, then Lady Asanor might be in danger, but you can't be sure. You may try to go to the asylum and warn her, or you can check other clues you may have in order to get a clearer conclusion. What will you do? Okay, interesting. So this one is about Lady Asanor. Let me take some notes. This one is about Lady Asanor in danger. Asanor danger. Stranger danger. Okay. I will check other clues. So 77 now. There are no doubts now. Ming's brother is an unspeakable. Well, that escalated quickly. I was trying to confirm that Ming has not a twin brother but a duplicate, and suddenly, now we have it. He's an unspeakable. And how do you know it's the brother that is an unspeakable and not Ming? Your traverse through the labyrinth of dreams and the book you read in the monastery of Gailar gave you enough information for you to reach this conclusion. Well, I guess. Jiang Ming used the ritual of clay to create an unspeakable and seal it in a clay figurine. You can't be sure as to how the creature ended up looking like Ming, but it might have something to do with the sacrifice of his own essence, the being in the dream world told you about. It seems that these monsters have been lurking around this island long before the Anarchy War, but that doesn't tell you what they are or, more importantly, where Ming's fake brother may be. You should be checking more of your clues in order to reach for a more conclusive answer. Okay, so this one just gives you information. So Ming's brother is an unspeakable, like I had suspected all along. So now 91. 91. Everything is clear. Wait, it says the same thing. Ming's brother is an unspeakable. Your well, it says majority the same thing. Lady Asenor probably knew what Ming was up to and refused to give him what he wanted to know, which angered him to the point he vowed to give her what she deserved. He may have done the soul transferring by himself, and what came from this experiment was a defective unspeakable, with part of Ming's soul and an unstable personality. It may have even inherited Ming's memories and emotions, which means that it could be following its basic instincts. And based on the drawing you found on the desk of its room, you can guess where it may have gone to Karma's asylum. This means Lady Asenor's life might be in danger. You must hurry! But, can I please check 67 just to see what it says? I mean, we're in a hurry, but Lady Asenor can be... She's a tough woman. She will defend herself. She can hold off a few minutes while I read 67, and then I'll go to 94, I promise. 94, so I don't forget. 94. 67. I just want to see what 67 says. Even though it's strange, the inexistence of records of Feng Ming's arrival to Anarchan, you don't know how this clue and what you read in the Monastery of Gylar have in common. Both clues don't lead you anywhere. Maybe you should try other clues. Okay, so this was a waste of time. 94! Let's go! Let's go 94. Okay. You can check it if you want. Yeah, I already did. It really was a waste of time. As soon as you arrive at the asylum, you come across a scene that makes your blood run cold. Bodies of doctors and nurses are laid around the reception area, and around you, those who were fortunate to survive this slaughter run and scream past you. Some of them grab onto you, mostly patients, begging you to save them from the creature who is causing all this ruckus, but you shrug them away and tell them to leave this place. Have you seen who did this? You ask one of the nurses who's coming from upstairs, running and screaming like the crazy patients from this place. It was Lord Ming, she cries in despair. He just entered here and started killing everyone. Did you see where he went? You quickly ask. He was going to the upper floors, she answered. I heard he was looking for Lady Asenor. You tell her to leave the asylum and run to the stairs, trying to reach Asenor's office as soon as possible. Along the way, you bump into doctors, nurses, and patients who run away from the slaughter that is happening in the upper floors. According to one distressed nurse, Lady Asenor's office is in the 5th floor of the asylum, and when you get there and enter the room, you suddenly stop, looking at the scenery with a mix of shock and surprise. A grey-haired woman who doesn't look much older than 60 is backing away from a man you recognize as Jiang Ming, even if he is with his back to you. Even so, you know he's not the real one, but a duplicate. The woman who you quickly deduce is Lady Asenor notices you, and her eyes widen even more in a despaired feature. "Please help me," she cries. "This lunatic is trying to kill me." "That's not Lord Ming," you quickly reply. "It's a duplicate he created. It escaped from his manor and I've been trying to find it." The woman then looks at the thing she believed to be Jiang Ming, and her fearful look transfigures into a terrified countenance. As if slightly curious with your presence, the fake Ming stops and looks at you with a neutral look, as if not impressed by your arrival. "He really did it," she whispers. "I told that numbskull not to perform the ritual, but he did it anyway." "Lady Asenor, we need to find a way to destroy it," you shout at her. If the monster understood you, you don't know, as it restarts its walk towards Asenor, completely ignoring you. "It's impossible," she wails, not taking her eyes out of her pursuer, which is slowly leading her to the corner of the office. "Nothing can destroy an unspeakable unless..." I'm pretty sure she's gonna need something that I don't have, so she might as well say I'm dying here. Her eyes dart to what you believe is her desk, now standing too far away for her to reach, and then directly to you. We need a piece of clay. Anything made of that'll do. Use the figurine in my desk and toss it to me. Your gaze lands on the tiny and ugly clay figurine standing on her desk. Are you sure it's going to work? You ask doubtfully. Just do it, she shouts. The unspeakable is almost on top of her. Running to the desk and tossing the figurine will take time you don't know if you have. However, if you already have a clay figurine with you, which I don't, where the hell would I get that? Then you can use it. In that case, 24. If you don't have one, then you run as fast as you can to the desk, grab the figurine and toss it to the woman's hand. Roll 1d6. I swear. You're going to put this in the luck of the dice, and my luck with the dice sucks. And she is going to die, and I'm not going to be able to see a good end once in my life because of a roll of a dice. No. Why? I knew it. I knew it. She's gonna be killed. Why? Well, welp. 68. I guess you're gonna die, lady. The figurine flies around the room and crashes into the wall, breaking into tiny pieces. It doesn't even matter that I have stuff like acrobatics. I mean, I wouldn't be this clumsy, but doesn't matter. You stand horrified as Lady Asenor's desperate look disappears behind that hulking menace that is getting down, closing its hands tightly around her throat. You go to her aid and jump to the monster, but the creature hits you on the face. What? But the creature hits you on the face with a sudden strike with the back of its hand. Feeling as if hit by a large boulder, you fly around the room and slam hard into the opposite wall. Whether you lose your senses or immediately die from the impact, it doesn't matter to you now. After the unspeakable deals with Asenor, you'll be next. Thank you. Why? Why can't I have one good ending? One. Just one. For once. I know. Right? Voo do Corvo. I did 3 endings. None of them is a happy ending. Everything went marvelous in this playthrough. And then at the end, I just had to have a roll and get really unlucky because the dice never favor me. Well, and I guess that's it. So we have reached the conclusion of this story, and that's it. Now, what I'm going to do is let me do this. Because for better or for worse, we have achieved an ending. Even if it's not the ending that I wanted. Because Asenor died and so did I, basically. Of course, but why couldn't I just leave? At least I would survive. But it is what it is. I guess we failed the mission. It's like I feel like right now I would need the scene where when in Resident Evil 4, when Ashley is taken or killed, Leon just does this dramatic, oh no, and it's game over, like you have just been killed, and I really need that right now for this ending. Okay, so basically we are going to start anew. That's what we are going to do. And try asking different stuff and getting different informations. Let's go ahead and see how that will fare for us. I just don't get one thing. Why did I need the mirror? Why did I need it? Because I didn't see anything in the clues about the mirror. Okay, taking away the uncanny spectacles. Couldn't the old lady just get the spectacles? I guess not. Free tip: you'll know if you speak with the holder of the mirror. Oh, I see. Well, I don't know what I'll be getting this time, since I will have different abilities and will not be able to do a lot of stuff. But let's go. Let's see how that goes. So this time we will have another name, a name of a thief. Life force, I have to put it again at 50. Name. Let me put at the abilities. What are the abilities, please? Abilities. Okay, so now, without even thinking about it, sleight of hand. Sorry about that. And dark vision. Okay. I'm forgetting, there's a name I want to give. I'm forgetting the name, the real name. She's... I'm pretty sure when I see the name I'm gonna be, how did I not remember? Felicia. God damn it. Wasn't able to remember. Felicia. Okay. And I have nothing in my inventory for now, and so Ming comes talk to us and everything, and we are now going to 1. The simple way this revelation was presented stunned you. Since when Jiang Ming has a twin brother? We know he doesn't, but that doesn't matter at this point. Anything else? When was the last time you saw him? Where was he last seen? So I think I will still ask for his name. '87. Feng Ming. Answers the Lord of Astur. But I can't see the significance of this information. After all, no one has known of him before, so even if you ask his name around, no one would know who you were talking about. He has got a point here. The name of a missing person is hardly important unless that person is well known. The other time, I won't ask how long, because I think I asked that last time. How long has your brother been? When was the last time? Let's go to 48. Let me just drink some water and I will just go on in a second. Which abilities did I take? I took Sleight of Hand and Dark Vision because I said I would try once again with the abilities I didn't pick last time. So Sleight of Hand and Dark Vision. I didn't see any moment. Well, I think there was like one moment for me to use Dark Vision. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like acrobatics was really good. I think acrobatics and Sleight of Hand would be really nice, but I will use the two abilities that I didn't use. 3 days ago at my place, answers Ming. Due to certain circumstances, my brother is not allowed to leave the premises of my property. Why is that? You ask him. For obvious reasons, don't you think? For starters, no one knows about him, and if my opponents knew I had a brother, they would try to hit me through him. And then there is the fact that he does not have the physical skills or the wits to survive in these streets. Then why have you come here after 3 days? You ask. If you last saw him then. I'm a very busy man, interrupts Ming, and I barely see my brother. He spends the majority of his time in his room, reading, and even when he comes out, he is always accompanied by one of my servants. Sometimes he doesn't come out of his room for days. You sound as if your brother had some issues, you say. He does, answers Ming after a short pause. So let's ask another. And where was he last seen? I think I didn't ask that the other time. The last person who saw him, my housemate, says that he was in his room in the night before his disappearance, answers Ming. According to her, he stopped answering her the following morning, but she didn't care about it because it seems it is normal for him to do it. She only started to find it weird 2 days later, and that is when they realized he had been gone. I mobilized my entire guard looking for him, but we couldn't find any clues to his whereabouts. Did the housemaid see or hear anything strange that night before his disappearance? You ask. I didn't ask, says Ming. I was more concerned about punishing her for her negligence. Of course you were. So 12. I have done my questions. You didn't give me much to work on, you say. Look, my brother disappeared and there are not many clues as to where he may have gone, says Ming. For the first time, his voice becomes more rough as if he didn't like your comment. If you want to start somewhere, you may look around in his room. He has books, parchments and scrolls lying around, so you have a lot to work on. Anything else? Is there any other place your brother used to go? Not that I know, answers Ming. However, he sometimes likes to take a stroll around the garden by himself. You may go investigate there if you want. May I talk to your servant? If you wish. Ming's Manor, a big house that once belonged to one of the members of the Supreme Council of this island, is imposing enough to have become the home of the Astur District's lord. It has a big garden around it with tall trees and bushes that hide most of what's inside. Some guards patrol the premises of the property and staff members walk around doing their chores. Apparently nothing out of the ordinary considering the fact that their lord's twin has disappeared. Now, will you look around the garden? Yes. Let's go. 14. Even though it's already evening, you look around the garden of Ming's property. It's a very wide space filled with bushes and trees. There is even a fountain, now dry, with a statue of a smiling woman carrying a vase. The amount of vegetation around here is enough for a person to walk around unnoticed by anyone. My brother likes to sit by the fountain, says Ming, looking at the statue. The monument is reminiscent of the old regime, and the lack of care has given it an ugly, dilapidated and dirty look. Once he told me the woman in the fountain looked like a goddess he had dreamt about. Is this the only place he comes to when he leaves his room? You ask. He also walks around a bit to stretch his legs, answers Ming, but he never strays too far from the fountain. But one time we caught him trying to escape by climbing that tree. He points to a mahogany tree near a corner of the wall that protects the property. My guards managed to bring him back and he was punished for it. After that he never pulled a stunt like that again. You can only investigate each of the following options once. Will you? I will go to the tree. 55. The mahogany tree is one of the biggest of the garden, its branches extending even to the side of the walls. After some inspection, you notice something half hidden between the branches, if you want to try to get it. But I don't have acrobatics, I knew this would happen. Otherwise, you step away and try another place to go. Will you investigate the statue? The statue depicts a single figure of a once beautiful woman who is smiling while holding a vase from where probably the water used to come. Now it is all dirty and full of cracks and moss. When you peek inside the vase, you notice something that reflects the light of your torch. If you want, you may try to reach it. 26, of course. I know what will come out of it. You put your hand inside the vase and reach for something fragile. You pull out a pair of spectacles. One of the lenses is cracked and the frame is so delicate that you fear it could break at any time. When you try to look through them, to your amazement, you see nothing but waves and lines that distort your surroundings and make you dizzy. You quickly take them out, wondering what are you supposed to see with them. If you think they may be useful later, you may keep the uncanny spectacles. Now will you? Well, I already went to the tree. I will leave the garden and put the uncanny spectacles. Leave the garden. 73. 73. Oh, what? What? Wait, I didn't see that right. Why did I memorize 73? Wait, where the hell am I? Oh no, I'm lost. Oh my day. Oh my god. Well, I will retrace steps. Okay, it's 12. Okay. So, I have looked around the garden. I don't know why the hell I thought about 73. Talk with Jiangming's staff. 6. My employees are busy people and they don't have time to waste on your questions, grumbles Ming. So are you, and even so you took some of your time to come to the web and ask for my help, you reply. Your staff may know some useful information that can help us deduce your brother's whereabouts. Fine, he agrees after a long annoyed sigh. But make it quick. You can talk to no more than 2 people from the following options, so who will you inquire? Well, I think this time I will inquire different people. I will inquire the gardener and the cook. I'm basically exploring. Let me go to 8 because is the closer one. The cook is a bald and fat man who wears a dirty white apron above a much dirtier uniform. Never saw Lord Ming's brother, he says while cutting off a smelly fish's head. But why would I have to? They are twins. If you see one, you see the other. But you are the one who prepares his meals, right? You ask. Do you see anyone else here? He retorts while gutting the fish. I work my ass off trying to feed everyone in this house, and if that wasn't enough, I still have to prepare fish for that spoiled old-timer every day. Do you know how hard it is to find food in this town? I thought Lord Ming was the owner of the farmlands outside town, you say. But he doesn't own the fishing areas, as you should know, the cook says. He is right. In Machiavel, only the Azoth and Sinmouth districts have the control of the fishing ports, and so the monopoly of all the fish belongs to Lords Tolgath and Minos. However, even if the distribution of the fish is being prioritized to the people of their districts, there have also been those from other parts of town who pay from their own resources to smuggle fish into their territories. Lord Ming knows where I get the fish from, continues the cook, but he doesn't help me in any way. He only says that I must provide fish every day for his brother, or else he would fire me. He only eats fish? You ask in surprise. That's the only thing he eats, reinforces the cook. He takes a big knife and starts slicing the fish. And he likes it raw, no less. He's a weird one. So, have you heard anything strange about him lately? Lord Ming's brother likes sushi. Stranger than only eating raw fish? He looks at you with a raised eyebrow. You can't argue with that. What will you do now? Talk to the gardener. We have already explored the garden, but I guess. To your surprise, the gardener is an old toothless dwarf with a big and dirty beard that almost reaches the ground. It's not common to see dwarves in Machiavel. The savage nature of the town makes them one of the major targets of all the scum that lurks these streets. There are not many ways for a dwarf to survive here, but at least serving a lord is one of them. I used to work on the hedges when the master's brother walked around the garden, he says in a weak voice slurred by some phlegm stuck in his throat. Phlegm. I'm not sure what phlegm is. I think I've seen the word somewhere, but I'm not sure what it is. He never talked to me, let alone look at me. Lately I've seen him a lot by the fountain looking at that ugly woman. Have you ever seen him do or say anything strange lately? You ask. The dwarf spits to the floor before answering. He was all weird from ever since he came to live here. Even though he looks like a defiant fellow, he chooses to speak these words in a lower voice. Sometimes I found him speaking to the statue, whispering words I couldn't hear. The only time I spoke to him was to berate him for climbing the statue. Why did he climb the statue? You ask. Didn't ask, and I didn't care. He just climbed down and went away, looking at me with the same look of contempt as his bastard brother. You don't seem to like your lord, you say when the dwarf turns and starts walking away. You think? He snorts. Now, will you? I will go away because I have nothing else to do. So now I will investigate the bedroom. 61. Phlegm. Oh, I see. I see. By the way, is the camera sometimes acting weird? I'm not looking at it all the time. I hope not. This camera sometimes has some issues. Okay, so located in the second floor of Ming's Manor, a big house that once belonged to one of the members of the Supreme Council of this island, Jiang Ming's twins' bedroom is no more than a small space that could be confused with a pantry if it weren't for its placement in the house and the window on the opposite side of the door. As soon as you enter, you feel a strong, moldy smell around the room, but you can resist the will to cover your nose. The room has a small bed, too small for an adult, a rough wooden carved bedside table, and a bigger table and chair by the window. The entire space is a jumble of clothes, books, and rolls of parchment strewn across the floor and over the bed. You can only investigate each of the following options once. Will you? Investigate the table by the window. 29. The table only has a roll of parchment, a quill, and a small vial of ink already empty. The parchment has a rough draw of what looks like a building and the face of an old woman. At least that's what it seems to you, looking at it from above. There's nothing suspect in the drawing, but before you even think about turning your back, now I'm pretty sure the old woman that is referred here is Lady Asenor, but the character doesn't know Lady Asenor. You notice a small box at the edge of the table. At the same time, you notice that through the window you can see some of the Karma district in the distance. Will you? I didn't open the box the other time. I didn't, right? And maybe this time I can't also. I think the other time I didn't try to open the box. I can only do one of these, right? Okay, the button, okay, sometimes it fades. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. I think it's some kind of light problem with my phone. I don't know why it does that sometimes. But it's not terrible because I see it's working for most of the time. Because I did question myself the other time, but the box, I probably need the lock picking, which I didn't use any time on the other playthrough. This is the only instance in where I can use the lock picking, and I didn't use it at the right time. I mean, I think I shouldn't try to open the box because right now I don't have lock picking, so I will just look out the window. When you look outside, you notice that one of the big buildings in the Karma district looks a bit like the drawing from the parchment. Even though you have never been there, you recognize that place. It's the asylum. Why would Ming's brother draw that exact building? Record the keyword lunatic karma. Well, now I will have to again do the math. But what? Open the box? Why didn't I see that the other time? I didn't open the box in any instance, I think. I didn't open the box. What? Ah, I did open the box. Oh, I remember now. Okay, I remember now. Inside the box, you only find a small bottled flask. When you pick it up, you notice a tiny puff of white smoke swirling around inside it. What is that? You hear Ming ask behind you. Will you show him the flask? Hide it from him. Of course I will hide it. Now I can hide it. Yeah, the box isn't locked. With quick movements of your fingers, you slip the tiny flask inside your sleeve before turning to the Lord and showing him the box. Register the flask of white smoke in your inventory. Interesting. Nice. Just an empty box, you say. His narrow eyes seem to peer into you. Does he believe you? Now will you? Investigate around the room, I guess. Yes, I still haven't done that. Investigate around the room. By the light of a candelabra, you start looking around the mess of clothes and books, trying to find something that could catch your attention. Unfortunately, the darkness of the evening doesn't ease this task. If you have dark vision, nice, 65, okay. Where is it? 65. Hidden under the bed and covered by some scrolls, you notice a small figure with a brownish color. Oh, I know what this is. You pick it up and realize it is made of clay. The figure isn't well made, but at least you can tell it's meant to depict a bipedal being. Its legs and arms are disproportionate in width and length, and its head is a bulb without any facial features. You show it to Ming. Never seen this thing before, he says, looking at the figurine with contempt. Do you think someone may have given him that? Or it may have been made by himself, you suggest. Impossible, retorts Ming. The only place where he could get clay is by the river, and I can assure you he never steps foot near there since he came to Anarkan. Then your question may be the best possible explanation for now, you say, examining the figurine. You may keep the clay figurine if you want. Of course I want. Now will you read some of the books and parchments? That's the only thing that we are missing. 11. Some of those books came from the old library, says Ming while you leaf through some of the hardback tomes that lay around the bedroom. I even read some of them myself. Who knew I would find a copy of The Game of War by Liu Bao in this dump of a town? You look at the covers of some of the books, trying to find some connection, but there isn't anything out of the ordinary, aside from the fact that the books are written in different languages. How many languages does your brother master? You ask. You could swear Jiang Ming is trying hard not to laugh. He can barely talk, let alone read, he answers scornfully. He only has the basic knowledge of the Chinquanese language. His speech has always been limited, but sometimes he could say a more difficult word, probably after hearing it. Then why all these books? You ask, confused, while holding a book written in Heejung characters. I just let him live his fantasies, answers Ming. The more he dwells on them, the less he wants to leave his room. Among the many books and manuscripts scattered around the room, you find 3 that seem to be interesting. Which one will you browse through? I think the one I used the uncanny spectacles was Liber Somniorum, or was the Book of Eidolon? I can't remember which one I used the spectacles on. But I know that this time I'm gonna read the Unspeakables because I wanna choose other stuff to see the differences. Although I suspect that the Unspeakables are useless and I should read one of the other 2. Because I think both gave me keywords. Well, let's go to the Unspeakables and then I'll decide. This small tome talks about the Unspeakables, a race of sentient creatures whose features cannot be described because, as the reports say, there is no one who has seen their face and lived to tell. Because of that, many believe the Unspeakables are figments of the imagination of delusional people, who even declare these creatures are able to kill anyone and assume their shape and personality. One report states that these monsters can be called upon this world by a specific ritual, while others says that they can be created using materials such as clay and using chaos to give them life. There is even one report that says that the Unspeakables are the spawn of an ancient entity and act as its eyes, ears, and mouth while they replace the real people with themselves and prepare the world for that entity's descent from the stars. You really don't know whether to believe this or not, but you can agree this is an interesting piece of imagination. Don't tell me you're becoming a bookworm as well, says Ming, scything impatiently. You apologize to him and ask what he knows about the stone. Seems like those are the ramblings of Loomis, answers Ming, throwing the book across the room. The asylum on Karma district is full of those. I already have lunatic. Oh, lunatic patient. Huh, that's different. Okay, it's the same keyword but different. Lunatic patient. Interesting. Okay. $11, and let me choose another one. I honestly don't know which one to choose. I guess I will choose the Book of Eidolon. Yes, I'll choose the Book of Eidolon. 83. I don't know which one will be more useful in the end, honestly. You can read the Unspeakables, but since you lack an important object, you won't be able to get a clue related to information of the book. Oh, really? Yes, I know. Oh, I see that my camera is once again out of light. Really? Hello? What? I really wish I knew why it does that sometimes. This book talks about the Grecian priestess, this is the talk about Cassandra. Cassandra betrays. We have read this already. Excuse me, have you come to read or to find my brother? Asks Ming impatient. You apologize to him and ask about the Book of Eidolon and its writer. I know nothing about that book, but as far as I can tell it was written by a priest of the Order of Gaelar, an old religion from this island. The order was disbanded during the Anarchy War, but I heard that some survivors still worship Gaelar. Nowadays the religion is practically dead and only a handful of devotees still cling to the old ways. So, Eidolon, Gaelar. Okay. Now will you leave the bedroom? $74. Leave the property because I have done everything. Sorry about that. 74. Wait. 69. Now that you've finished investigating Ming's property, you should use the clues you got to start your search for the missing twin. During your investigation, you may have gathered some keywords that help, so it's now the thing about converting the words. Yeah, I have 3 words, so let's see what we are able to gather. This time we have different stuff. Let's see how this will go. I have to once again look up a cipher. How did I search that? Okay. So this one is 11 plus h8 plus 1 plus 18 plus m13 plus 1. I will do the maths. P it's 16 plus 1 plus T is 20 plus I is like 9, E is 5, N is 14 plus 20. And this one is 7 plus 1 plus 5 plus 2 L's. Where is the L? 12 plus 1 plus 18. And now I will do everything quickly on my calculator. Okay, so we have okay, so this is 52. This one is 85, and the last one $56. Okay. This time we won't go to the docs, because we didn't get any references for that. And let's go once again by the order I have here. So first one is 52. 52. The asylum is practically the only building working in the Karma district. Before the Anarchy War, this was a very important healing institute. Now it has become a place where the most lost mental cases are sent and forgotten. It is controlled by Lady Asenor, the ruler of the district, and despite the ruined aspect of the building, the working environment seems to be normal. Mostly. We are not allowed to give information about Lady Asenor's business, says the cranky old woman at the reception desk. I'm not asking you to give me any details, you insist. I just want to know if Lord Ming ever had any meeting with Lady Asenor. That's providing information, she retorts. What our Lady Asenor does is of her own concern, and we cannot tell anything about that to someone unrelated to the asylum, let alone someone from the likes of you. What is that supposed to mean? You ask, even though you know exactly what she means. You know, she answers, giving you a look of contempt. This is not going well to your side, but maybe you can do something to make her change her mind. Perhaps giving her something she would like, otherwise she won't help you in any way. I may try, but this time I don't have the mirror with me because I didn't have the acrobatics to... I mean, I may try to give her the clay figurine, but will she accept that? I mean, why would she want a clay figurine? I know that she won't take the uncanny spectacle, so I won't even try. I don't have the obsidian mirror. 47. What an ugly thing, she says, looking at the figurine with disgust. You really don't know how to treat a woman, don't you, Spider? You put the figurine back into your pouch, wondering what you can do to please her. If you want to, well, I don't have anything. So, it seems this one has ended without a clue. Wait. Because I have nothing. The only thing that she has interest is in the mirror, the obsidian mirror, and I could recover it this time because I have sleight of hand, but I couldn't get it in the first place because I don't have acrobatics. I wonder what the flask of white smoke will do, actually. I wonder if I will get an opportunity to use it even. Okay, then I'm going, no, now I'm going to, well, I will go to 56 since I'm close to that. When the Anarchy War broke on the island, one of the first institutions to be affected by it was religion. The Order of Gaelar, for instance, had all of its cathedrals burned to the ground and centuries of history destroyed permanently. However, there's still one monastery just outside town that managed to survive the war. Inside there's only a handful of devotees to the old god Gaelar, men and women who descend from the priests and priestesses who survived the war, and as expected they refuse to open the door to you. You do realize I'm a thief, don't you? You ask sarcastically to the grumpy old man who looks at you from the other side of the porthole. So, he says defiantly, so don't you think that if I wanted I could have broken into your monastery without you even realizing it? Heh, I'd like to see you try, Spider. He answers confidently, which makes you think, in fact, this place never got invaded ever since the war, and it's like the monastery is in a hard place to reach. Are their defenses really that great? Will you? I will try to convince him once again. I could see what it does, trying to break into the monastery, but I would like to at least get a clue. So, I don't know if I will get any other, but I will at least try to get that. 84. Where am I? '84, not this one. Okay, then this is the conversation with the priest. He ends up being convinced that he should let you read the books. And I decided to read The Man of Clay, which was really useful. I don't know if the holders give you another clue, but I don't have the mirror, so I don't know if I should try another thing or should I just go for the same clue. 22. I will go for the same clue. Clue, oh wait, I don't know how to write a C. Clue B47. I don't know if the other one would give you a clue just the same, but I will go, for now I will go for the clue that I know I can get. And maybe that will be the only clue I will get, because let's see how the next reference goes. 85. Controlled by Lady Asenor, the Karma district stands out in Machiavel as a gloom-looking area where poverty reigns supreme over the remaining districts. As a territory, it offers little to no advantage in terms of resources, so there hasn't been any attacks by other lords. In fact, even other districts have been helping this one by providing their leftovers to their citizens, a charity that clearly amuses the other lords. Reaching the old asylum isn't difficult, mainly because these streets aren't dangerous in any way. The majority of the residents are famished and diseased men and women who live in ruined houses and try to survive each day with leftovers or by earning their food with small jobs. Those who couldn't get food have resorted to cannibalism to survive. Sometimes a child, a woman, or an old person disappears, and by now no one even cares when something like that happens, because they know what happened to them. The asylum is the only building working in the entire district. In old days it was an important healing institute, but when the Anarchy War broke, this place was ransacked and almost all of its patients and staff were killed. When Lady Asenor took over the district, she reopened the building and converted it into an asylum, providing jobs to those who wanted to have something more for themselves and their families, or the ones who still tried to create a functional civilization by studying in the Sycamore Academy. Even though the building is in very bad shape and its interior conditions are questionable, the work environment seems to be normal. Rarely anyone comes to visit, says the receptionist, a cranky old woman wearing a dirty white gown. She looks at you with some amazement. You might probably be the first sane person she has ever seen in decades. And she also forgot she already talked to me a few minutes ago, but what do you want? Is there anyone here who likes to talk about ancient entities or believes in them? You ask, trying your best to act as normal as possible. Everyone here is like that, she answers. We have all sorts of lunatics from all around Machiavel. Screamers, people with suicidal tendencies, old farts who ramble about the ghosts they saw in their childhoods, cannibals, you name it. But has someone checked in here recently with those types of speeches? You insist. The old woman looks briefly at an old parchment on the reception desk. The last admittances were 2 weeks ago, she says. But the only ones who were diagnosed with some type of schizophrenia are 2 men who were admitted here 3 months ago. They are both being observed by Lady Asenor herself. Can I speak to those men? Look, I don't know who you think you are, but we are full of work. I don't have time to give you a tour around the facility, so you have to choose which one you want to talk to. Your exasperation is visible, but she doesn't give in. Fine. Who are those men? One of them calls himself the holder of the mirror. The other one only whispers to himself while rocks back and forth, but flinches when someone talks about clay around him. We call him the clay brain. She chuckles at the bad joke. Which one will you talk to? Well, I guess it will do me nothing talking to the holder of the mirror because I don't have a mirror, right? I don't know if the clay brain will give me any useful information, but hey, I will take what I can because I have no obsidian mirror, so it makes no sense. 10. The clay brain is a very shy and scared old man who is sitting on his bed in his bedroom. Everything is tidy around here, which suggests the man doesn't use this space very often. He wears a dirty striped gown, his white hair is unkempt, and he rocks back and forth while holding his legs. He doesn't seem to notice you. He only looks at the wall in front of him and whispers something to himself. You introduce yourself but get no answer. He is completely oblivious to your presence, so you decide to try to understand what he is saying. Don't think about them, don't think about them, don't think about them. Clay is the answer, clay is damnation. Don't think about them, don't speak about them, don't think about them. Clay is the answer, clay is damnation. Don't think about them, don't speak about them, don't think about them. Clay is the answer, clay is damnation. He repeats these words continuously, and nothing you say makes him break his momentum. Is there any way for you to draw his attention? If you have a clay figurine and want to show him, yes. Please don't break the clay figurine. I kinda need it if I'm going to try and save the Lady Asanor. The man stops his muttering when you show him the clay figurine, and his stoic expression changes. His eyes open in a horrific stare. He jumps from his place and crawls to the corner of the room. He screams when you try to approach him, his arms covering his face as if trying to hide from the harmless figurine. No, it found me. Please don't kill me. I didn't call you. I didn't call you. Someone help me. You try to reassure him that you are not here to harm him, but the more you try, the worse it gets. The man's screams call the attention of the asylum staff, and several men and women storm into the bedroom. What did you do to him? Asks one of the men while his colleagues try to get hold of the mad patient. I didn't do anything, you say. I just showed him this figurine. You fool! The man interrupts angrily. Weren't you told that he's afraid of clay? Yes, but... You answer, but before you can continue, the nurse takes you outside the bedroom. Even after he closes the door behind him, the crazy man's screams can still be heard. He was sent here almost 3 months ago, says the nurse, now more calm. It was the people from Lord Yang Ming of the Astor district who brought him here. This man was crazy like I've never seen before. We had to call Lady Asanor to deal with this case herself. But what is his problem, you ask? He's clearly schizophrenic. By now he only mutters the same things over and over again. But when he was admitted here, he couldn't stop saying that Ming's brother was one of them, whoever them may be. He screamed a lot, saying that Lord Ming's brother was made of clay and that we must never speak of those who shall not be spoken about, or else they would come and switch places with us. What does that mean? Just ramblings of a crazy guy. Believe me, I've been here for almost 10 years and have already seen it all. Most of these loomies don't play with a full deck and never will. Now if you'll excuse me... The nurse goes back inside the room, leaving you with your thoughts. He may believe the clay brain is just a crazy... He may believe she... It's not she. Is just a crazy guy, but what he told you makes you reason differently. Why would he say that Ming's brother was made of clay? And what are them? You can't just ignore this, so you take note of all you learned here today. Yeah, I take note of all I learned, but I learned nothing because I have no keyword. I have no clue. And since I only have a big clue and no more keywords to explore, it seems I have ended my adventure because I have no means to go on. So this is the entry about the holder of the mirror, I bet. He would give me a clue, another clue. But I don't have a mirror to show him, so that wouldn't... Then what do I use the flask of white smoke for? Let me put, I think the entry was 3. If you have run out of keywords and you haven't managed to gather an A and or B clue, then you have reached the dead end in your investigation. Well, I did manage to get a B clue, but I can't do anything with just a B clue. I mean, 47 is not a reference, right? Yes, 47 is something else entirely. Why does the second adventure always goes worse? Because in the first adventure, I always pick the abilities that I like and that I think are going to be useful. And then on the second adventure, I pick the ones that I didn't want in the first place. So maybe that's why. But really, I got a few items. I'm still convinced that the best combination would be acrobatics and sleight of hand. And maybe, I don't know what would happen if I at least have read The Unspeakables, for example, and then talked to the holder of the mirror, but this time having the mirror because I would be able to get it from the old lady. I think sleight of hand and acrobatics would be a nice combination. I mean, I was able with dark vision to find the clay figurine, which is useful in the end. But if you go to a different place than the asylum, there's a difference. I thought it would always end up at the asylum trying to save Lady Asanor, because that was what I got with the other clues. But I see I can go to other places. Interesting. But yeah, basically what we learn is I shouldn't ever play a game a second time, because when I do it the second time it goes worse than the first time. I think that's the conclusion here, because these went terribly, yes. But I still had a lot of fun. It's always interesting. I don't know if I would have been luckier if I just did the labyrinth, but I think I would I would just the same end up with only one clue. So I think it's because the only clue I got was the one from exploring the thing. By the way, I wanted to check, let me see if I can go to that reference, because I wanted to see what was the other book and what are the consequences of trying to get into trying to break into the monastery. Let me see what that's all about. Curiously, I wouldn't be able this time around to break into the monastery. That's why I actually didn't choose this one, because I thought it was impossible, because I didn't have neither lockpicking nor acrobatics. That was on the other turn that I did. 99. Oh, and even with acrobatics, I would have to do a test to my skill. Interesting. Here I am exploring the rest of the entries just to see. And then I would be able to read one of the books. Okay. Then I would be able, as soon as as long as I was able. But I don't think it. I mean, you can get into if you just talk with the priest. So I don't see why put your skills to the test. But yeah. Ah, yes, I also wanted to see what the holders, if the holders gave you a keyword too. Oh, they do give you wait. Ah, yes, they give you a clue, a different one, but they do give you a clue. Interesting. So they both give you clues, but different ones. So if I had this one instead of the B one that I got with the other book, I would have had less combinations than I had the first time. I really had a lot of combinations that I could do with the clues. that was fun. So that's basically it. We are also reaching our time to say goodbye, and we have basically done both game books written by Tiago, and these were really fun adventures. They are books that you quickly can do a replay, and it's fun. As you can see, I try to explore different options, different dialogues, different decisions, different abilities. It's really interesting, and you get different experiences each time. I do think that some abilities help you more than others, because your options are limited, and there are combinations of abilities that are more favorable for you than others. But you can see replaying the game while knowing some stuff is really helpful, because you can slowly work towards your happy ending. I'm really sad, because if the dice would have favored me the first time, I would have been able to save Lady Asenor and see what the hell would happen after that. Maybe I would not be able to get a full happy ending, but at least something a little bit more satisfying than the way it finished the first story after going so well. But yeah, these are a lot of fun. We will wait for our author to make them available in some way for us to play, because this was more like an exclusive thing. And thank you so much. I will put these playthroughs that I did of these books available on my YouTube channel, so you can check them anytime you want. And I want to thank once again to Rankin87, Tiago Filipe Costa, for sharing with me these game books, for giving the idea and supporting me in doing this kind of content, because it's always a lot of fun to do these kinds of things. I get annoyed for not being able to do the best decisions and not being able to get the best ending, but I still do have a lot of fun, and these are really well told stories and really interesting to play. So thank you so much for keeping me company. Thank you so much. Hope you have a nice evening, a good rest. I still don't know what I will be streaming tomorrow. That is a decision for me tomorrow. I will always keep you posted on my Discord, so check that if you want to know what will happen tomorrow. And may music always be your life force. Bye bye!